Just the importance. I mean, in '93, I remember the blizzard of '93. I have, and I'll show you that too after we're done. Is I still have Atlanta Journal Constitution of that, kind of the wrap up of that day or that week. The blizzard of '93. You know, it happened in March 13th. March 13th. There's not supposed to be blizzards in March, let alone blizzards in Atlanta. But it was a hurricane. It was like a hurricane over land, and not only affected us, but all the southeast and the northeast. But I remember looking, even as primitive as that was, looking at all these, what we had computer models and saying, is this possible? Is this possible it could happen? And sure enough, it happened. And it's just like with the snow that happened, I guess it was last year in December. Everything had to line up for that to happen, and everything did line up. Now, 98 times out of 100, that's not going to happen. But there's always that one or two that let you know, it's not nice to fool Mother Nature, that someone has the last say in all this stuff. So yeah, so I've learned from it. I've learned experiences. I know when to when it's important, when it's not important. And you know, you have battle scars. You don't win everything. You go out there and predict, and you're wrong. You know, you can't control it. You know, I tell folks, I'm going to quote a guy that I used to work with at Channel 11, Flip Spiceland. He used to work at CNN as well. He told me, and he probably stole it because I know Flip. He says, I'm in sales, not production. We're in sales, not production. We tell about the weather, but we can't produce the weather. So we have to do with the best information. And you know, everyone kind of makes a joke, you know, yeah, the weather man, yeah. But it's fun, and you know, most times, believe it or not, we're accurate, despite the fact that a lot of folks don't think we are. So.
And you know, if you, y'all have an accuracy.
Yeah. I mean, we have a thing called Weather Rate that we subscribe to that looks at the forecast for the different stations and rates them, and we've done well with those, and you know, we all try, and I work with a great bunch of people too, and the older I get, the younger they get. You know, it seems like. So I have a joke, and one of them is in the newsroom right now, Ella Dorsey, and we have another one, Molly McCullum, who we just hired recently, and I tell a story. You add their ages together. Add 8 years to get my age. I don't want to say I'm old enough to be their father, but that's about right. So it's just, but you know, that's more of a testament of my longevity in the market. It's neat to see young people doing, like yourself, that want to be in the industry, and it's something that I was very, and still very passionate at my age. So it's something you can do until you're in your 60s or 70s, or however long you want to do it. That's a long time for you.
Yeah, but
you meet a lot of people. Yeah, you will. I mean, at your age, like I told you, I was looking at Muhammad Ali and Mickey Mantle and going, oh my gosh. And actually, whoever your idols may be, one day down the road, you never know. You may be talking to them like this and say, I remember when you were, or I remember when you were present. I remember this. I remember that. And it'll come full circle for you, and you'll know. And it'll just make you appreciate growing in the industry. That you have access to things that a lot of people don't. A lot of people, I've been very lucky about that.
Yeah. That's really something special.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So, you know, a few years, you joined CBS 46
Yes.
News. Such a great family. I mean, you know, the people out there, your colleagues, they're awesome. I had a chance to sit down with them. But yeah, they're great. So, you know, how did you get the opportunity to come here from 11 Alive?
Well, 11 Alive didn't renew my contract, so that's basically like getting fired. But at the same point, when some people found out I wasn't going to be re-signed at 11 Alive, they called me. One of the first ones was CBS 46 under different management. So it was a while ago. So it was like 2011. So it took it 7 years ago. So and it progressed. It took about 6 months, but I landed on my feet here, and it's great. I felt at home since day one. And people here are great. I mean, we always have people in and out, but it's good. It's really good. And I was glad because, you know, I work with people who have been here also in the market, like Fred Khalil, who's a sports guy. I worked at 11. Karen Greer, who I've worked with before. And there's some producers that I've worked with before for many, many years. So it's like one of my, she works sometimes for us, Sally Sears. Well, I remember her from Channel 5. So now we're going back to the 80s, someone I know from the 80s. And I still I saw her at the Falcons game, Brenda Wood. I saw Brenda Wood, and Brenda and I were hired the same day at Channel 5. August 1st of 1988. Now she's retired from 11 Alive, but I saw her and we just hug each other and we just like we're a bunch of kids, and I know her daughters from here, and now they're amazing women. It's neat, the people that I've been able to go in this journey with through my career.
Yeah, that's awesome. And speaking of your career, you're the chief.
Yes.
You're over all the other meteorologists, but I'm trying to figure out what is the difference, because on air you guys do the same thing.
Right, and you know what? And that's a good point. I think that, I don't look at myself as someone who says you got to do this, you got to do that. I don't think that's any way to do it. I think it's more working together.
Yeah.
And I just have the experience now in my career that I can be that. I was also the chief at 11 Alive too, and one of the biggest compliments someone gave me at 11 Alive, who I work with, he says, "You're the best chief I've ever worked with." I said, "Why?" I said, "Because you allowed us to do our thing." I didn't tell a young kid, "Hey, you can't do that." Now, if there's something they're not doing right, or I think they could do better, and a lot of them ask my opinion too, which is good. That's what young people should do. That's what I did when I was a kid. It's the only way you learn. I mean, you look at someone who is seasoned in the business. If you have the opportunity to work with someone that's been in the business for 20 or 30 years, and you don't pick their brain, you're going to lose that. That's history right there. That's history right there. So, hey, when you were my age, how did you do a forecast? Or how did you look at that? How did you see, why is this not the best way? Can you look at my tape to see if I'm doing the right things? What suggestions would you make? Those kind of things. And I was always like that. I felt I was kind of ripping them off, too. I want your knowledge. Bring me your knowledge. But they love it. That's what I love about my part of my career, is I have that now. I'm not your age or Ella's age, or I mentioned Molly before, age. They're starting their journey and into their journey. I'm kind of winding down my journey. So, but I still have things to offer and still advice. And I've been through Blizzard of 93. Some of them weren't even born in 93, so it's like, so I have that. I can look back at those memories, especially since they all were in Atlanta too. So I have those memories from Atlanta, the Olympics, Blizzard of 93, when the Braves were winning all those things, when we went from worst to first, the Olympic, I mean, just anything that happened in Atlanta, I've been here for.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, I want to get in more deep into the weather.
Uh-oh.
So, I want to know what goes into preparing accurate forecasts.
What happens is you start looking at weather information. We have these, what we call computer models, where we look at information. That doesn't mean they're right, but there's suggestions and guidance that we use to make a forecast. Whether they be numbers, whether they be depictions of fronts moving through, and temperatures. So we take that all information, we try to build it. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to happen. And then we have to say, and keep that in mind, that's one. But there might be another model that says, no, it's going to, like for instance, tomorrow, there might be one model that says there's going to be a 30% chance of showers. One might say none. Okay, what do you do? You have to either bite on one and say, this is what I believe, or hedge. And I think it's just better, like my experience. Like today, you see that rain moving through? That's a front that's going slow, so slow, but it's supposed to push through. And so when it pushes through to the north or to the northwest of that, it's going to be really nice tomorrow. Well, what if that just decides just to hang out there tomorrow? Then I've said, hey, it's going to be sunny in Carrollton and Douglasville, and all of a sudden they're getting rain. So this is just a tricky tomorrow forecast. I'm hoping that front pushes, or that line pushes this way slowly, and gives much of us a day where it's a mix of clouds and sunshine. So you kind of have to use experience and try to look at that and say what you believe or what you don't believe. And if you're wrong, you just don't show up for work on Monday. That's right.
All these
global forecast system, yeah.
Yeah, and all these other models, but sometimes it can be hard which one to choose from.
And some work better in different scenarios. Some work better in severe weather. Some work better in winter time. So it's just looking at and tropical weather too. Some work better in certain things. So you got to kind of look and see which ones work, and look at them all, and just do that.
Yeah, awesome. Now I want to get into some snow.
Snow.
Let's talk snow. So that's one of kind of like the hardest systems to track.
It is.
You never know how many inches you're going to get until like the last minute. So how do you?
Very hard. Anyone who says they can predict snow a day or two out here is not telling you the truth. There's no skill at predicting snow. It is something that you see, you have it out there, I can't tell you how many times. I even have in my folder, as a way to be humble, a breakout. This happened when I was working at 11 Alive. This is going to be the most powerful storm, snowstorm, since the blizzard of '93. So we're all on the paper. Me, at that time, Glenn Burns is still around, Ken Cook. Who's going to get this right? And we all said it's going to happen. That snow hit the Alabama-Georgia line and fell apart. And nothing happened here. So something from the blizzard of '93, the next blizzard of '93, and nothing's out there. I mean, we were like, I had school kids come up to me and like smacking me around because they say, I didn't want to go to school today, what happened? But I mean, that was just humbling moment. I keep that just to let you know that no matter how much information you have there, you don't know until it happens. And just like this snow event that happened in December, there was information that suggested what happened, 8 to 10 inches of snow in some areas. But how many times to go? I can count on a half a hand 8 to 10 inch snowfalls in Atlanta. Do you know the blizzard of '93? Do you know how much snow officially was in Atlanta?
Not sure.
5 inches. Now that would make it seem 5 inches.
I mean, that's a blizzard for it.
Now, but north, like in Dunwoody and up in North Georgia, 20 to 25 inches of snow in some areas. But in Atlanta, where they measure it, it's going to go down as a 5-inch snowfall. That doesn't really tell the story. So a lot of times you got to look at the whole overall picture, and that's the same with these things too. But that time just was a humbling moment, and it's so difficult to predict snow. And so, but there's one thing that if you're wrong, everyone knows. Hey, it's not going to snow, and all of a sudden there's 2 feet of snow on the ground. So you got to err. It's kind of fun though, because I mean, to me, it's always kind of fun. Okay, please snow. It's going to snow. It's going to snow. Then it starts snowing. Okay. Yeah.
That's me.
I'm going into work. Wait a minute, it's snowing too hard. Can't go to work today. I'm going to play. But it's it's difficult, but it's also fun. And like I said, I can count on half a hand how many snow events we've had.
Yeah, awesome. And I think that like when it does snow, when you guys predict that it's going to snow,
Everything shuts down.
yeah, the shelves are not stocked anymore.
Yes.
They can't keep them stocked.
That's how I get a 20 or 30% discount from Kroger and Publix if I mention snow.
Wow.
I got a card. I go in the back way. They say, okay, here's your 30%. No, that's not true. That's not true. But you're right. I mean, it's interesting because it doesn't happen, and there's always that joke that we don't know how to drive in snow.
Yeah.
So, and it doesn't, as we know, it doesn't take a lot. Like 2 years ago, I guess it's almost 3 years, how it shut down a city with not a lot of snow. Just that everyone was on at the same time, and everyone was caught on the road. So it doesn't take a lot to cause a lot of problems in Atlanta. So it's a dangerous time, a challenging time, but it's also a neat time to be doing weather when you are faced with a forecast like that. So.
Now, I know you're the meteorologist. You're always in the studio. You ever had to go out in the system?
Yeah, I mean, that's, especially early on, I mean, and go, I remember it was, I was working at 11 Alive, and a tornado hit about a mile from my house, and I knew there was something bad there. So I got up that morning, it was Saturday morning, and I drove to where I thought it could be, and I saw a car wash destroyed, and thank goodness I knew the back way how to get around there. But I called the news and said, hey, listen, there's been a tornado, a small tornado hit there. So in those instances I have been, we've had reporters, and some people just recently come back from Florence. They were in North Carolina, and that's always interesting to do that. I prefer being here to give the information now at my delicate age, but some people love that. I have friends at the Weather Channel, Jim Cantori, Mike Seidel, who just love being out there in the elements, and they're good at it. They're really good at knowing what to do, where to go, and have expertise to know they can feel the wind at their back and know if it's a tornado. I mean, if it's a tropical storm or a hurricane. So they're really good at that. So I'm not so good at that. But I've been out in it before, but not. And that's how I first learned, is to be able to be out and that stuff.
Wow. Now, what I do want to know is, how do you and the National Weather Service, how do y'all kind of coordinate?
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alerts?
Well, they do, and it's a good partnership that we have with them. And I love the National Weather Service. They're a good team. They give us information. They give us our warnings, and we are always when there's a bad weather event, we all get together, the meteorologists, whether a webcast or whatever, or information, to try to figure out the best, because we're all in the same business. We're there to provide people with the best information we can on dangerous situations. So I have a good relationship and always have with the National Weather Service. At one time, I was a National Weather Service co-op observer, which means for a while for Alpharetta, I used to keep the daily highs and lows and rainfall. So I used to get up every morning and do that. So I have a good relationship and also been a part of their process as well.
That is just awesome.
Yeah.
And fortunately, it's about that time.
What's that time? You taking over my job?
I mean, that would be nice, but
Okay. Yeah.
but no, it's almost that time to close out the show. But
Oh man.
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, if you would shout out your social media pages, I'm pretty sure everyone will love to follow you and get, live weather updates from you.
I'm trying to think. I don't know what they are. I think one of them's Ossmann, CBS 46. I think it's my Twitter. I don't do a lot on there. Facebook. Just search my name, Paul Ossmann, Ossmann. And what's the other one? Instagram? I'm so old, I don't know. Do people still do MySpace? I'm just kidding. I still have a MySpace account. No, I do not have a MySpace account. Let's see, Instagram, something with CBS 46. I think it's Ossmann CBS 46.
Okay.
I wasn't prepared for that question. Not that good. I'm just too old, I'm just kind of saying, give me a call. What happened to people calling each other? So that's how they do it. Sure.
Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in to this live interview with CBS 46 Chief Meteorologist Paul Ossmann. We'll see you next time.